Hey, um, I usually make unscripted videos, and this video is unscripted, but I'm just going to tell you guys right now that my next few videos, or the next few like longer videos, are going to be scripted. So I'm going to be writing a few larger projects for my channel. They're in the works right now. I won't tell you anything about them, but yeah, just stay tuned for my my next longer uploads. They'll probably be around half an hour, 25 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I don't really know. I'll see how long it takes for me to read off the script. I'll add a bit of information because it's going to be like more video essay like, because I'm going to be writing about things I like, but I'm also going to be recording it. And um, YouTube is currently my favorite way of telling people about stuff I like or stuff I've been keeping up with. So yeah, I hope you guys check that out. But today I'm going to be reviewing the 1980 film Friday the 13th. Now, this movie released on June 13th, 1980. Now, today is June 13th, 2025. This movie came out 45 years ago today on Friday the 13th. And the nerd I am, I have to check it out. So I did. I watched this film. I watched it on my Blu-ray correct collection of um, 8 films, excluding Jason Goes to Hell, the remake, the 2009 remake, and Jason X. But it has the first 8 films, and it doesn't have Freddy versus Jason either. But still, I know it seems like a very minimalist box set. It doesn't include everything, but still, I'm not complaining. It had the first film, which is arguably the best of the series. I know a lot of people say that Friday the 13th Part 4 or 6 are the best ones. My personal favorite is 2. Um, it just took everything the first film did and perfected it. It took the first film and made it slightly better in every single way, and that's the reason why I think it's my favorite, because I love the original concept of the film, of the franchise. It's essentially a bunch of people in a very isolated location, um, and a killer stalks them and kills them one by one. And you know, I love slasher movies. If you saw my review for I Spit on Your Grave, you'll know that I really like slasher films, and I mentioned Friday the 13th in that review. Um, but I think it's important that I talk about it, especially today, but also because it had a very huge influence on the slasher genre, even the horror genre, because it wasn't normal for a film like this to like have such an isolating feel. There are very few films that take the theme or the emotion or the feeling of isolation and do it as good as Friday the 13th. Because yes, this is a B horror film, right? It's not the best. A few shots are not, like, the camera work is not the greatest, the acting is not the greatest. Everything feels a bit subpar at times. If you're a film critic or a I guess I'm a film critic sort of, but if you're like one of those, white wine film critics, and you're sitting there in your suit and you go and see this film in a big theater, a big fancy theater, and you have your white wine and you have your suit on and your tie, and you're watching it and you're curling your mustache and you're like, this movie's shit. Yeah, well, the thing is, this movie is intentionally very campy. It's not meant to be the most serious thing in the whole world. Um, I know that the film's tone is supposed to be very dark, and I know that it can fail at that at times because it's an old film, right? I mean, there are some deaths, there are some kills in this film that are not going to be taken very seriously, that you're probably going to laugh at even. But you have to remember that at the time these effects were really impressive. This was before CGI. This was before computer generated effects. This film is very authentic. It's very raw, much like I Spit on Your Grave, but in a more fantastical way. It's not like fantasy. It's not like mythical. It's not like fairies and elves, but it is very believable. You know, like these people are killed off in these log cabins in the middle of the woods at night with little to no connection to the outside world. That's a bit scary. I remember when I first saw this film, it creeped me out a little bit. Um, it didn't inherently like scare me. It didn't give me nightmares or anything, but it's a movie that is very effective at giving audiences that feeling of isolation. Isolation is a very important emotion to get right in a horror film, right? Especially in a movie where you're trying to put these people in these very dangerous, very scary, very claustrophobic situations. And I think the film pulls it off for what it had, you know? The film's budget wasn't the greatest, um, but it had some pretty, pretty top, um, pretty top workers, you know? Like these, some people like Tom Savini that worked on this film are very highly credited in the horror community, you know? Um, and yes, I think I should mention that this film does include the actual killing of a snake. Um, so yeah, this film has been discussed for animal cruelty. Um, and while it could have been like a dog or a cat or something, and people would have, you know, reacted pretty badly to that as well. Um, a snake, I mean, it's pretty bad when you realize that yes, that's a real animal, but I don't think that should detract from the overall film, in my opinion. It actually makes the film feel more authentic, which is a bit awful to say, but you know, um, I mean, I would have personally not used a real snake, but I mean, that's their choice. It's not the best choice, but you know, they used a real snake and that's that. But regardless, I think possibly my favorite thing about this film is the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this film is very eerie. It's quite haunting. The whole yeah, that whole thing. It's so good. It's so iconic. And yeah, you might think it's not that whole Jason thing. It's not the greatest. Like it's you might think, oh yeah, that's not scary, but it's effective. It's very good. The music is very good. It's very foreboding. It puts the audience here in these woods with these characters, and I think it's really great. And another thing is Kevin Bacon is this is one of his first roles, and he gets a I mean spoiler alert, he gets an arrow through the neck from underneath a bed. That's pretty cool. Um, I mean, yeah, that's some way to shoot into stardom, in my opinion. I mean, I think his film Footloose released. I think Footloose came out after. I think it came out a few years after. But yeah, Friday the 13th might be one of his most memorable moments. Um, yeah, I like this film a lot. I gave it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd. That might be a bit biased because of how much I like horror films and how much I love the feeling of horror portrayed in fiction. And this is just one of the classics, you know. I can't give it anything lower than a 9 out of 10. But um, yeah, I'm a big fan of this film, unapologetically. And I just want to mention one more thing. Yes, the acting is not inherently the greatest in the world, but it is kind of convincing, you know, that these are young adults. These are like teenagers, you know, that are screwing around in this summer camp and they're swimming around and they're laughing and joking together and they don't know that their friends are all gonna die one by one. And that's a bit scary to think about, especially in such an isolated, claustrophobic place. And the music enhances that. So yeah, it's just the more I think about it, the more I like this film. Now, one more thing, I promise. One more thing after the one more thing. I apologize. I'm not the most structured person when it comes to film reviewing or recording at all. The jump scare at the end. Uh, yeah, I don't know. This film has a plot twist too that you probably already you have to know about, right? I mean, if you clicked on this review, it means you've already seen the film, or you know of the film, or you're interested in watching the film. And like, I mean, everybody knows this ending, right? I mean, it's a classic. It's iconic. I must have said classic or iconic at least a billion times in this review already, but still, the jump scare and the plot twist, they're very big moments, and they're towards the end of the film. They're at the end of the film essentially, and um, I think that the more you watch this film, the less effective that they get, and the plot twist can seem a bit. It can feel not as structured as it should be. It feels like this character comes out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, well, where was the mystery? I mean, it was supposed to be a who done it, right? You're supposed to figure out who did this, and then they introduce a character towards the end that has pretty much no relevance to the rest of the film up until that point, and that's my only real criticism about this film. Um, if they added more depth to this character earlier on in the film and used her as a suspect, that could be effective. That could be really good. That could make the film one of the greatest of all time, in the horror and slasher genre at least. But yeah, that's all I really got against this film. The jump scare is great. I mean, it still kind of got me a little bit when I watched it again. So yeah, Friday the 13th, 1980. It's a classic horror film. I mean, if you haven't checked it out, then what are you doing? I mean, like if you want to get into horror, then this is the film to watch. I mean, this Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know what else. Like those are the first three that come to mind. I don't know. Yeah, those three films are just untouchable. You can't. They're priceless. You can't go near them. They're horror classics, whether you like them or not. They're just iconic. And yeah, so check out Friday the 13th today if you can, because today is the best day to watch it. And I'm really glad that I watched it today. I'm not going to forget about that. I'm going to geek out over this. Um, and I guess I already did for the past 10-15 minutes. So I apologize for that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review, and you'll be seeing more from me later on. So, see you.